Welcome back. This is the story of Loki, the trickster, from Norse mythology. If you enjoy the story, consider sticking around for more just like this every week. But for now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the legend. Loki was unlike any other among the Aesir. He was neither a god nor a giant, yet he walked among them, laughing in the halls of Asgard, whispering secrets in Odin's ear and weaving mischief wherever he pleased. His origins were shrouded in mystery, born of the Jotun, Laufey and Fabretti, yet raised among the gods. His silver tongue and cunning mind made him both an asset and a threat, a being who could tip the scales of fate with a mere lie. Though Odin saw fit to make him his blood brother, trusting his wit and wisdom, the other gods were not so easily convinced. Thor, the mightiest of them all, often found himself at odds with Loki, who delighted in mocking him, deceiving him, and at times even aiding his enemies. But Loki was more than just a trickster. He was a shapeshifter, a schemer, a force of chaos that neither Asgard nor the Nine Realms could fully control. Not all of Loki's mischief ended in disaster, though. There was a time when his tricks brought great gifts to the gods. After a prank angered Thor, one that involved Loki cutting off the golden hair of Sif, Thor's wife, Loki was forced to make amends. He traveled to Svartalheim, the realm of the dwarves, seeking the most skilled craftsmen to forge new treasures. Through sly manipulation, he tricked the dwarves into forging wonders beyond compare. Sif's new golden hair, which flowed like the sunset itself, Gungnir, Odin's spear, which never missed its mark, Draupnir, a golden ring which multiplied itself endlessly, Skibaldnir, the finest ship able to fold itself into a small pouch, and Mjolnir, the mighty hammer of Thor, and the greatest weapon of the gods. And yet, even as Loki's cunning brought power to Asgard, his deceit never ceased. He could not resist pushing boundaries even when it meant his own ruin. The moment that sealed Loki's fate came with the death of Baldur, the most beloved of the gods. Baldur, son of Odin and Frigg, was invincible. His mother had made every object in the world swear never to harm him, save for one small mistletoe branch. The gods, amused by his invulnerability, took to throwing weapons at him, watching them bounce harmlessly away. But Loki, ever watchful, discovered the one flaw in this magic, and so he fashioned a dart from the mistletoe and placed it in the hands of Hodur, Baldur's blind brother. With whispered guidance, Hodur cast the dart, unknowing that he had just killed his own kin. Baldur fell, and the laughter in Asgard died with him. Frigg pleaded for Baldur's return, and Hel, the ruler of the underworld, agreed if every being in the Nine Realms would weep for him. And they did. All but one. A lone figure, disguised and hidden, refused to shed a tear. And of course, it was Loki, ensuring that Baldur remained in Hel's domain forever. And with that act, Loki sealed his doom. The gods, now united in their hatred, hunted Loki down. He fled to a secluded mountain, disguising himself as a salmon and hiding beneath the rushing waters. But he could not escape. Thor, ever relentless, cast a great net, dragging Loki from his refuge and binding him in unbreakable chains. Odin decreed a punishment befitting his crime, Loki was bound beneath the earth, his body twisted and trapped with a venomous serpent placed above him. Its poison dripped onto his face, burning his flesh, sending him into horrible convulsions. His wife, Sigyn, remained by his side, catching the venom in a bowl, but when she turned away to empty it, Loki's agony shook the earth itself. Thus, the trickster lay in torment, waiting for the day of reckoning. Loki endured. The venom from the serpent continued to burn his flesh for many, many years, and his cries shook the mountain. Even in his suffering, he knew that his time would come. The gods believed they had silenced him forever, but they could not chain fate. The seers had spoken of Ragnarok, the end of all things, when Asgard itself would burn and the gods would fall. And when that day arrived, Loki would be free. The signs came as foretold. Fimbulwinter, a great endless cold, gripped the world. 3 winters passed without summer, and the bonds of kinship shattered. Brother turned against brother, father against son. The very fabric of the 9 realms began to unravel. And then, at long last, Loki's chains broke. The trickster emerged from the depths, his form twisted with years of torment, but his mind sharper than ever. He raced to Jotunheim, where the frost giants awaited, and to the depths of the sea where his monstrous children stirred. He stood before the armies of chaos and called them to war. Loki took his place among the enemies of Asgard. He stood beside Surtur, the fire giant whose sword blazed like the sun. He rode alongside the legions of hell, the dead warriors who had waited for their moment of vengeance. And at the helm of Naglfar, the ship of the dead, Loki sailed towards the final battle, his heart alight with rage and purpose. The gods had cast him out, and now he would watch them burn. The battlefield stretched beneath blackened skies as the gates of Asgard were shattered. The ground trembled beneath the thunder of war, gods and giants and monsters and men all locked in battle. Thor faced Jormungand, the world serpent, Loki's own spawn. Odin rose to face the wolf Fenrir, another of Loki's children, knowing he would not return. The heavens roared as gods clashed with the forces of destruction. And in the chaos, Loki found Heimdall. The watchman of Asgard had long stood against Loki's schemes, his piercing gaze ever watchful. Now, the 2 men met in battle, their hatred as old as the 9 realms themselves. Steel clashed, blood was spilled, and the gods themselves held their breath. Loki was no warrior, but his cunning was a weapon sharper than any blade. He dodged, weaved, and struck where Heimdall least expected. But Heimdall was relentless, his spear finding its mark again and again. But after the long duel, Loki drove his dagger into Heimdall's side, smirking in victory, until Heimdall's sword pierced his own heart. As Loki lay dying, the world crumbled around him. Surtur raised his flaming sword, setting the world ablaze, and Asgard, the great city of the gods, was no more.